What if IBRX doesn't need to become the next big pharmaceutical company to reach 10? And what if $10 is actually just the beginning? Today we're talking about ImmunityBio, ticker symbol IBRX. The stock is trading around the 750 area, which means reaching $10 would require roughly a 33% gain. For a volatile biotech stock, that's not impossible. But here's what makes IBRX interesting. The company already has a commercial product called ANKTIVA, and the company has been reporting strong revenue growth. In 2025, ImmunityBio generated around $113 million in net product revenue. Then in the first quarter of 2026, revenue reached approximately $44.2 million. And the following quarter reportedly reached around $50.7 million. That's important because we're not just talking about a potential drug anymore. We're talking about a product that's already generating revenue. And personally, that's one of the reasons I'm interested in IBRX. So can the stock reach $10? In my opinion, yes. If ANKTIVA sales continue growing and adoption keeps increasing, I think $10 is a realistic target. But there's a difference between touching $10 and staying above it. The market will want to see continued revenue growth. And that's where the $20 target becomes much more interesting, because getting from $7.50 to $20 would require a much bigger change in the company's valuation. So here's my question. Do you think IBRX can reach $10 first? Or is the market already pricing in too much optimism? Drop your target in the comments. So can IBRX reach 20? I think it's possible, but I wouldn't call it my base case. For me, $20 is the bullish scenario. The biggest factor is ANKTIVA. If sales continue growing, if more patients receive the treatment, and if the company expands into additional markets, the revenue opportunity could become much larger. And that's when investors could start valuing IBRX very differently. But there's a problem. Biotech stocks aren't only about revenue. Investors also have to watch expenses, cash flow, financing, and potential dilution. Because even if the business is growing, the stock can still disappoint investors. That's why I don't want to make a prediction based only on hype. I want to see the numbers continue improving. Now imagine the perfect scenario. ANKTIVA keeps beating expectations. Revenue continues climbing. International expansion works, and the company gets additional positive clinical or regulatory news. If several of those things happen together, I think $20 becomes a legitimate long-term possibility. But then comes the question everyone asks. What about $50? That's where things get much more interesting, because $50 would require a completely different valuation. And in part 3, I'll give you my bear case, base case, and bull case, and tell you exactly where I personally think IBRX could go. Before you leave, if IBRX reaches $10, would you sell, or would you hold for 20? Tell me in the comments. Now we get to the big question. Can IBRX reach 50? My answer is, it's possible. But I would not make $50 my base case prediction. At $50, ImmunityBio would need to become a much larger commercial success. I'd want to see much higher revenue, continued ANKTIVA growth, successful international expansion, better profitability, and potentially additional indications or products. If all of that happens over time, then I wouldn't completely rule out $50, but I would call it a long-term moonshot scenario. So here's how I personally see IBRX. My bear case is that growth slows, expenses stay high, dilution becomes a concern, and the stock falls back toward the lower single digits. My base case, I think $10 to $15 is more realistic if ANKTIVA continues gaining traction. My bullish target, around $20 or higher, and $50, that's the high-risk, high-reward dream scenario. Personally, if I had to choose one target today, I'd focus on $10 first. If the company keeps delivering strong numbers, then I'd start looking toward $15 and $20. But I wouldn't buy IBRX simply because somebody says $50 is coming. That's not investing. That's gambling. Now I want your opinion. Where do you think IBRX is going? 10, 20, or are you actually targeting $50? And here's the bigger question. If you had $1,000 today, would you invest it in IBRX? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. I'll keep watching IBRX, and if the numbers change, I'll update the prediction. Thanks for watching.